It's Memorial Day here in the United States, and it's having me remember last year Memorial Day weekend because it was such a pivotal moment in my life, one that is coming to fruition big time 1 year later. Let me give you some quick backstory to set the tone for it. So I grew up the youngest in a family of 7. My oldest sister was 28 years older than me. And yet I know that all of us as siblings would agree that one of my mother's biggest mantras, biggest concerns, biggest fears, whenever we were going to do something a little out of the box was, what will people think? What will people think? Teresa, what will people think? It's been like one of the most dominant messages from my childhood, from my development, that has shaped my life, not always in the best of ways, because it has had me for most of my life go, ooh, let's do that, and then put the brakes on. What will people think? It set up this pattern where I've looked outside of me and what will people think for directions, instructions of what it is okay for me to do, what it is not okay for me to do, how it is okay for me to be, how it's not okay for me to be, what it's okay to feel, what it's not okay to feel. This is the trap. It's how I became what I call a really good pretzel person, and I'm very flexible. Now, I got it at an even deeper level because I always say I got this message in vitro, in utero, because my mom was 44 plus years old, 45 when I was born, living in a small town in Fairmont. Her 2 oldest daughters already had 2 children each, and now she's pregnant with me. Trust me, she was going, oh my gosh, what will people think? She's told the story. Oh my gosh, what will people think? So there I am in vitro. I'm telling this to you because I want you to understand how dominant this pattern has been in me, how much it has shaped me, how much it has limited me, how much it has had me shapeshift myself again into what I thought I should be, instead of discover who I really am, what my purpose is in the world, and express it authentically, powerfully, honestly, openly. Now, let's go to Memorial Day weekend last year. We were down hanging out with friends in the greater Chicago area. And on the Friday of Memorial Day weekend, we finally got to fulfill one of Dan's dreams for years and years and years. And it's that we went to the Holocaust Memorial Museum in Skokie, Illinois. It is an amazing place. It is an amazing museum. And I walked into that museum, and I had already been, for whatever reason, last year was attracted to historical fiction and World War II. And even before we went to the museum, I was reading stories. They were fiction, but they were based on real life stories of real life people. And I was struck, even in those novels, how people in the most terrifying or horrific of conditions found a place to stand for something bigger than them. They could stand for a mission. They could believe in people. They could save the lives of others at their own danger. Like, I was just inspired by that. And bottom line, I was reading about heroes who didn't care what people think. They were in integrity with their values and what they knew to be true about all human beings being inherently worthy. So now that's the preface, and I'm going to this museum and I'm reading in detail the history of the factors that led to, the Holocaust, as we call it, the intentional plan to get rid of, I'm blanking on the word right now, genocide of a whole population of people, especially the Jewish people. And I'm reading as the timeline of the events that lead up to it. And I'm of 2 minds. On one hand, again, I'm being inspired by people who saw what was happening and said, no, this is not okay. This is not who we're created to be. This is not love. And they were willing, despite what people thought, to put themselves, to put their family, to put themselves on the line in service of others. At the same time, I was really challenged by all the events that led up to this and how people responded. And as I was reading the stories and hearing the facts and all of that, I could hear my voice, that voice, what will people think? And I began to wonder. I like to think that I'm all about, people matter and valuing people and making a difference in the world, that my Christian background really shapes me. And, I grew up with, God is in each person. And when we love another person, we love God, all of this sort of stuff. Know we are Christians by our love is one of my youngest songs, like all of that. But as I'm going through that museum, I'm putting myself in the situation. And I have to tell you, friend, I have to wonder. I began to wonder, would I have been one of the courageous ones who stood up against wrong? Would I have put myself in danger, my life on the line to try and stop this, to save people, to save children, to protest against the Nazis' plans? Would I? And I had to be honest. Given my what will people think, I realized it was not a great moment, that there's a really good chance in that same situation, I would have been one of the people who didn't rock the boat, who went along with what was going on, who didn't challenge the system, who just tried to go under the radar and, in a sense, collaborated by passivity, by not doing anything, cooperated with the atrocities that were happening. It was not a pleasant moment to realize that me, despite all that I believe about myself, in that same situation, I'm not sure. I realized I could have gone along with it. I can say all the words of never again, but in real life, would I have stood for it, or would I have just been silent, not rock the boat? And I have to admit, I think I might have just not rocked the boat, tried to keep myself safe. And why do I think that? Well, there's a lot of atrocities going on in the world right now. There's a lot of things that are not working in our world right now. There are a lot of people that are being judged, ostracized, they're in danger, they're threatened. And it's really easy to just keep myself safe. It's really easy to just, not say anything. I can't do anything about it, like all of that. The world we're living in, what's happening to people, refugees, Jews, everything, it's like a same situation. And how am I responding? This is what I began to be challenged by last Memorial Day. And then I love nature. I love the planet. Look at what's happening to the planet. Whether you believe in climate change or not, the planet is suffering. Rainforests are disappearing. Flooding is happening. There is something going on that's not working. And am I really doing anything about it? Or do I just continue to be really, really busy, just trying to put my head down and get through my own life? Caring for my small community. All of this was challenged, not pleasantly, by my visit to that Holocaust Museum. All the more emphasized when we walked out and we walked through this kind of garden area that I don't remember if I'm calling it the right name, but it's kind of like the Walk of Honor or something like that, where there are all these plaques where the names of the people, and I think there was hundreds of them, the names of the people who put their butt on the line, put their ass on the line, stood up for right, tried to save people, tried to help people, were honored in remembrance. And then below it were the names of the families, the next generations of the people they helped save are honoring these people. And I was, again, super inspired and so challenged, recognizing that voice, what will people think? What will people think? Wanting to be liked, wanting to be accepted. Like, I knew I wouldn't have been on one of those walls. And that's when I said, pardon my expression, fuck it. I'm done. I'm done with shape-shifting myself based on what people will think and not rocking the boat and wanting to be liked. It's time for me to stand up for and step into what I believe, what I dream of, what I vision, and what I believe God is calling me to be a messenger of. If you've been in my world for a while, you've probably heard me talk of it. If not, I'm going to give you a quick synopsis now. I believe that what we need to do as humans here is we need to revolutionize and transform the way we do money. It's built on a scarcity-based system I call the archetype of scarcity. And it is at the core of so many problems that we're having. It's like we human beings have set up financial, economic systems, et cetera, to be like a giant game of musical chairs. It's built on scarcity. There's never going to be a chair for everyone. And even if you get a chair, it's still, you could lose it, you could lose it. We live in a world where less and less people are getting a chair, able to play in the game. And unfortunately, a few people have lots and lots and lots of chairs, and they're not sharing them. Resources. It's not like resources aren't available for every man, woman, and child to have what they need to live a rich and rewarding life. It's just that the flow of those resources gets blocked by our inaccurate perceptions and beliefs in scarcity, and the inaccurate beliefs we have about money and power and things like that. So many years ago, the image that came to mind that really spoke to me, like a divine calling, I think it's who we were created to be as humans, is we're here to change that game. Instead of a game of musical chairs where there's never enough chairs for everyone, like I'm about creating a world where there is a chair metaphorically for all the resources needed for a person to live a rich and meaningful life, a world where the game we play is a chair for everyone, where everyone is included, everyone is welcome, everyone is valued, everyone is honored. There is community, there is connection. I believe this is possible modeled after what I call the sacred archetype of abundance, which is how the rest of creation works. We're all connected. Resources are available to support life for us all, including money, unless we block the flow, which we're doing, my friends. So that day, a year ago, I said, fuck it. Not everybody's going to like my message. Not everybody's going to agree with my message. Some people are going to push back on my message. People who are friends may not become friends in this message, but I'll be darned if I'm going to go to my grave and not have begun to seriously start to speak this message and bring people together to have conversation and discussion and learning and growing and connection that can start to shape the way we think about and do money individually and collectively, not just so that you can thrive, but we all and this planet can thrive. And I began taking steps, and I began taking steps. And a big step I took was when I launched my new website just a few months ago. Well, I'm taking a bigger step in this next month, in that we're going to start to gather people. I'm gathering people who are interested in this mission, who might want to be a part of it, who want to take on their own money problems, their own money scarcity, but not just for their own sake, but because they know that in doing so, they can make a difference in the world. I'm going to start to shape this community that I'm calling a chair for everyone. And I would love to have you be part of it. I don't know exactly what it needs to look like. I don't have all the answers, but I know that my part is to bring people together, to have the conversation, to look at things differently, to support all of us, to be part of creating a world. Imagine it, where every person, man, woman, and child have the resources they need to fully live the unique lives they were created in harmony with each other and this planet, so that we all and this planet can thrive. If you want to be part of this, if you want to learn more about what this is going to look like, because I don't have all the details, if you want to be part of being supported by it, co-creating it, you name it, then go to my website, teresaromain.com, links down below, and click on the community tab. And if the details aren't yet available because we haven't got them all worked out, you will see that there's a place you can say, I want to know more. You'll be put on a waiting list. And in the next month or so, we'll get you details of how you can participate, maybe even sooner. You and I, my friends, we were created for a purpose, and a purpose that's all about a greater purpose than just our individual lives. It's not about what will people think and looking outside of ourselves for how we need to be. It's about going inward to discover who we are, whose we are, and start expressing that in the world in service of love and peace and joy and fulfillment and the well-being of all, you, me, the world, and our planet. That's my mission. Want to join me?